Start with today's lovely arroz pulao. Now here I've washed and soaked 1 cup of basmati rice for 15 minutes. These are our whole spices. We're also going to use 1 medium onion, 1 medium tomato which I've chopped. We're also going to use 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste and 1 light green chili chopped fine, as well as half a teaspoon of turmeric or haldi powder and 2 soup cubes or stock cubes. Now in a pan, I've heated about 1 tablespoon of ghee or clarified butter. Now we're going to add our whole spices, that is the peppercorns, the cinnamon and the cloves. Fry them a little, and then we're going to add our medium sized onion which I've chopped. We're going to fry the onion till it's nice and translucent. Now once our onion is done, this takes about half a minute or so, we're going to add our light green chili and fry the chili well. Now we're going to add our ginger garlic paste and fry the ginger garlic paste as well. Next goes in the tomato. Fry the tomato well. Now we're going to add our haldi powder or turmeric powder that gives a lovely light yellow color to the pulao, and we're going to add our soup cubes. Now mix everything well, and we're just going to cover and cook this for about a minute so everything comes together really nicely. Now after a minute, just give it a nice gentle stir. And now I've drained the water from the rice and I'm going to add this rice to the bagar. Now fry the rice well in the bagar for about half a minute. On a low to medium flame. Now I'll be adding about 1/4 cup of green peas, but this is completely optional. And I'm going to add 2 cups of hot water. So we've used 1 cup of rice, we're going to use 2 cups of hot water. So I'm going to add the green peas, mix it up well. And now I'm going to add the hot water. Mix everything nicely. Now we're not going to add any salt because the soup cubes already have the salt content. Now we're going to let our mixture come to a nice boil on a high flame. Once it comes to a boil, just lower the flame and cover and cook for about a minute or two, for about 2 to 3 minutes. Now all the water has evaporated, so just gently ruffle up the rice a bit, very lightly. And now I'm going to place a flat tawa on the flame and then keep this vessel on top of the tawa. Cover it and cook it for another 2 to 3 minutes. This will, give us a very light pulao where the grains of rice are nice and separated and they're not mushy. So you can see our lovely pulao is ready and the grains of rice are nice and separated. So you don't have this mushy pulao, but you have very nice light pulao. And that's it, friends, and our lovely Goan Arroz pulao or pilaf is ready. This goes excellently well with some shakuti. A simple pulao recipe which goes well with any side dish. So here I've taken 1 cup of rice. Now I'm using basmati rice. I've washed it well thrice and soaked it in 3 cups of water for at least an hour. Now we have some whole spices. So here we have 2 bay leaves, 3 cardamoms or elaichis. These are 5 cloves or lavang. These are 2 big elaichis or big cardamoms. This is half a teaspoon of peppercorns, and that is half a teaspoon of shaha jeera. If you don't have shaha jeera, you can use normal plain cumin seeds. This is 2 medium onions sliced, 2 medium tomatoes chopped, 2 tablespoons of yogurt or dahi or curd. I'll leave a recipe of how I make the dahi or the yogurt at home in the description box below. These are about 15 mint leaves of pudina, half a lemon, and 1/4 cup of fresh coriander leaves chopped fine. Now we have some powder masalas. This is 1 tablespoon of coriander powder or dhania, 1 teaspoon of homemade garam masala, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. I'll leave the recipe of the garam masala. 1 tablespoon of kasuri methi, 1 green chili chopped fine, and 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste. So these are all the ingredients. So now I've taken a pan or a pot, heated it up. Then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of oil and 2 teaspoons of clarified butter or ghee. Now once all of the oil is nice and hot, we're going to add the whole spices. We're going to flavor it by just frying the whole spices a bit. Then we're going to add the onions that we chopped fine, sliced fine rather, and we're going to fry the onions really well till they become translucent. Next I'm going to add the kasuri methi, just crush it up a bit and add it. Mix that well in. Next goes in the finely chopped green chili. Fry the chili well in the oil. And now we're going to add the ginger garlic paste. Now if you're grinding it at home, use about 5 large cloves of garlic and 1 inch of ginger and make it a fine paste. You can also use the ready-made paste. Next goes in the tomatoes. And now we have to cook the tomatoes till they're nice and soft and mushy. So we're going to cover it and cook it for about 3 minutes till the tomatoes become nice and soft, and then just press down the tomatoes. Now we're going to turn off the heat for about half a minute. And then we're going to add the dahi or the yogurt. So we don't have to add the dahi or the yogurt when the mixture is on the heat. So add the dahi or the yogurt and then turn the flame on. Mix everything nicely together. This way the dahi or the yogurt will not, go bad or spoil. And now we're going to add our lemon juice. So just take the juice of half a lemon. So that comes to half a tablespoon of lemon juice. Now we're going to add the 3 powder masalas. Next goes in the mint leaves. Now I'm going to keep a few mint leaves for garnish. Also fresh coriander. I'm going to keep a little coriander for the garnish. Now mix all of this really well together. Next we're going to add some salt to taste. Mix everything well. And now we're going to add 2 cups of water. Since we used 1 cup of rice, so we're going to use 2 cups of water. And now we're going to mix everything and we're going to let the water come to a gentle boil. Once it starts boiling, then just mix everything well together. And now we're going to drain all the water from the soaked rice and add the rice. Now we're going to mix everything really nicely together. And we're going to cook this till the water starts to evaporate. Now once the water starts to evaporate like this, just cover and keep it on a very low flame for about 5 minutes, checking in between. And then once all the water is evaporated, turn off the heat and just keep it for another 10 to 15 minutes with the cover. Don't open the cover. And that's it guys, your lovely simple pulao is all ready, and then just garnish it. So friends, let's start with today's lovely recipe. Now this recipe is a Goan traditional recipe and it's really easy and simple yet delicious. Now I've taken about 1 tablespoon of ghee or clarified butter in a pan, and I've taken about a medium-sized onion, sliced it really fine. I'm going to toss it around in the ghee for some time, and then I'm going to add a pinch of sugar. And I'm going to caramelize this, or make it nice and dark, golden brown in color and nice and crispy. This is going to be a garnish for the pulao. So this should take you exactly 5 minutes on a low to medium flame. So once the onions have nicely caramelized and browned, you can just take them out and keep them aside. Now in the same ghee, I'm going to add about quarter cup of cashew nuts and kishmish or raisins. Fry them well and take them and keep them aside. Now in our whole spices, I'm going to use 2 cardamoms or elaichis, 6 cloves or lavang, and half an inch of cinnamon or dalchini. Then I'm going to be using 1 medium-sized onion which I've chopped up, 1 cup of rice, This is basmati rice or long grain rice. Just wash it well and soak it in some water for 15 minutes. 2 cups of coconut milk, the thick coconut milk, and just half a teaspoon of saffron or haldi powder. That's all we require. So I've heated about a tablespoon of ghee in a pan. I'm going to add my whole spices. I'm going to let the spices fry well so that it flavors the ghee. Then I'm going to add my chopped up onion, and I'm going to fry the onion till it turns a little translucent. Next, I'm going to drain the water from the rice and I'm going to add that to the onions and the spices. Now fry the rice for about 2 minutes in this lovely ghee. This will be on a low to medium flame. So just fry the rice well. Now we're going to add the haldi powder. Now this is if you want a yellow color. If you want to keep the white color for the pulao, then just skip this step of adding the turmeric or the haldi powder. So just fry it well because that will give you, you won't get a mushy pulao. You'll get a nice, where the grains are nicely separated, a nice and lovely light pulao. Now I'm going to flavor it with some salt to taste and about a pinch of sugar. Again, mix everything nicely. And now I'm going to add the thick coconut milk. So this is double the quantity of the rice. So if you're using 1 cup of rice, you use 2 cups of thick coconut milk. Now mix everything well. After that, just put your flame on high and let this mixture start to bubble or start to boil vigorously on a high flame. Do not stir it at all. Let it come to a nice boil. It should take you about half a minute or so for the liquid to start boiling. This is on a high flame. And you will see that everything starts to bubble and come towards the center. So let the entire liquid start boiling vigorously on a high flame. And when that happens, just give it one stir, and then after that, lower the flame to the to low, and then just cover it and cook it for about 5 to 7 minutes, just checking in between. Now just give it one light stir on a low flame again after about 5 minutes, and again cover and cook it for another 2 to 3 minutes. Just keep doing this, once or twice, very gently. And now I've put the flame off and you can see that the rice is nice and ready. So now you can transfer this to your serving bowl and then just garnish it with the onions. Just crush up the onions a bit because now they've cooled down, so you can crush them up. And then the lovely kishmish and cashew nuts. So here our rose com coco or coconut pulao, a lovely Goan traditional recipe, is all ready. I hope you like this recipe, guys. Also call it sausage pulao. It's just beautiful and delicious by prepping these Goa sausages. So it comes in a roll like this for those of you who are new to Goa sausages. So it has a casing. Now some people like to retain the casing when they are preparing the sausage pulao or rice or the chili fry, but I prefer removing the casing. So if you want to keep the casing on, it's absolutely fine. So now what I'm doing is I'm just taking a sharp pair of scissors and I'm just going to cut off the casing. It's very simple to do. If you do it on the outer side of the sausage like this, And then I'm just going to collect all the meat, uh, the sausage part, and just keep it aside in the bowl. Now, if you see, I've kept a butter paper on my cutting board. That's because sometimes the sausages have a very strong red color, and that sometimes stains your cutting board, and it takes a long time to go off. So, if you can just keep a paper or a tissue or a napkin with the paper. I mean, with the sausages on the paper, so that way it won't discolor your cutting board. Now, Goa sausages are available in selected places. Now, if you go to Bandra, you will definitely get it in many, many places. Otherwise, I mean, in places mostly like Borivali, Bandra, Mahim, you will get them in selected stores. And I guess they are available online too. So today I'm going to be preparing this Goa sausage chili fry, as well as the sausage rice or pulao. Now I'm preparing a very small quantity, just enough for two people, because I'm using just a little bit of Goa sausage. So I'm just using about a quarter kilo packet. So if you want to make it, for a larger, for more people, then you just have to double the quantity, use half a kilo or 1 kilo, and just double the quantity of everything. If you want to make it for 4 people, if you want to make it for 8 people, then just increase the quantity as per the recipe. So now I've just I'm just going to chop the sausages into bite-sized pieces. So you can cut them as to whatever size you like. I'm just keeping them for about, I think, 1 inch thickness. A little bit of the sausages that I retained for the pulao. I have about 2 medium-sized onions chopped, 1 cup of rice that I've washed and soaked, and a few spices, which I list down in the ingredients below, and some turmeric powder. Now, here I have some clarified butter or ghee. Now, I like to always make my pulaus or, flavored rice in ghee, because it really enhances the flavor of the dish. So, I've roughly taken about 1.5 tablespoon of ghee. To that, I'm going to add my whole spices. Now, in my whole spices, I have an inch of cinnamon, then I have about 2 elaichis or cardamoms. I have about 6 peppercorns and about 4 or 5 cloves. That's all that you require for this pulao. Now we're going to let this fry a little bit in the ghee, because we want to flavor the ghee with these wholesome spices. Now I'm going to add my onions, and I'm going to fry the onions till they become translucent. Now, most of the pulaus, when you make them in ghee, they have just a different flavor of their own. So now that our onions are nice and fried, to that I'm going to be adding my chopped up chorizo or Goan sausages. And I'm going to fry these well too. Now I'm going to add a little bit of turmeric powder or haldi powder, because the lovely yellow color. Now if you want to go with the white color, then just skip this step. Again, mix everything well together so that the haldi powder or the turmeric also coats all of the mixture well. And now that the rice that I've taken, I've just washed it well thrice, soaked it for about 15 minutes in some water. I'm going to drain off all the water, and I'm going to add this rice now to this mixture. Now just give everything a good mix. Again, do not add any salt because the sausages do have salt in them. However, if you feel afterwards that you do require to add a little bit of salt, so just before the rice is about ready, you can add a little bit of salt to the rice, but I'm not adding any salt. And now I'm going to add exactly 2 cups of water, that is double the quantity of the rice that I've used. Now just give everything a mix, and then we're going to put the flame on high and we're going to let the water start to boil. So whenever I make any kind of pulaus, I always use double the quantity of water to the rice, and that gives you the perfect consistency of the rice. You don't get it very raw, or you don't get it extra soft. So once our water does come to a boil, then we're just going to cover it, lower our flame to low to medium or even to extremely low, and let the rice cook till all of the water evaporates. And once that is done also, you just mix all the rice together and then turn off the heat, but keep your vessel covered for another 5 minutes. That way your rice will, cook in the remaining heat and it turns out just perfect. Ingredients. Here I've taken about 1 cup of rice and just washed it well and soaked it for 2 to 3 minutes. Here I have some whole spices, 2 cardamoms, about 4 cloves, about 10 peppercorns and half an inch of cinnamon. These are just 3 Maggi cubes. I'm using the chicken flavor. This is 1/4 cup of finely chopped French beans, half a cup of green peas, 1/4 cup of finely chopped carrots. This is a coarse paste of 5 light green chilies, 5 cloves of garlic, and 1 inch of ginger, 1 medium-sized onion, some ghee or clarified butter. So these are all the ingredients we're going to be using to make this lovely pulao. So here I've just taken a pot or a pan and I've just heated about 2 tablespoons of this ghee or clarified butter. We're also going to be using turmeric because I love the yellow color. If you want to leave it a white color, then you can skip using the haldi powder or the turmeric. So once our ghee is hot, I'm going to start by putting in my whole spices that will nicely flavor our oil as well as the rice. The next thing that's going to go in is this coarsely ground ginger, garlic, and green chili paste. We're going to fry this paste really well. Now, I'm using regular rice that we use for cooking on a regular basis, but you can also go with basmati. Now, we're going to fry the paste really well. This is very important, on a low to medium flame. So once you get the lovely flavor of the ginger and the garlic, we're going to add in our onion. And we're going to fry this onion till it's nice and translucent. Now once our onions are nice and fried, we're going to add in our turmeric or haldi powder. Like I said, if you want to retain the white color of the pulao or the vegetable rice, then you just skip this step. Now once that is done, we're just going to add the Maggi cubes. Now you can go with any flavor, you can go with the veg flavor, but I love the chicken flavor. And I like to use 3 Maggi cubes because we're not adding any salt to this rice. So these 3 Maggi cubes are enough. They give a lovely flavor to the rice as well as they also compensate for the salt. Now once our 3 Maggi cubes are added, we're going to mix that very, very well with the rest of our ingredients. Now we're going to just add all the veggies. Now I'm going with peas and carrots and French beans, but if you have a little bit of small finely chopped cauliflower, capsicum, little potatoes chopped up fine, you can add those too. But I like sticking to just these 3 veggies. Now with the rice, we're going to just drain all the water and we're just going to add the rice. Now this 1 cup of rice suffices for 4 people. But if you want to go with more rice, then you'll have to just increase the quantity of the onions and the rest of the ingredients a little bit more. Now we're going to fry the rice a little bit in this bagar, as we call it. We need to fry the rice just a bit. And I like to make this with ghee or clarified butter because it has a lovely flavor to the rice rather than using oil. Now I'm just going to add about double the quantity of the rice that I used. So I'm just eyeballing about 2 cups of water, or rather just enough water to cover the rice by around an inch. Now we're going to increase the flame to high. We're going to ensure that all the rice grains are in the water along with all of the veggies, and we're going to let this water come to a boil. So we're going to increase the flame to high. This is very important. And then we're going to let the water boil vigorously. So it takes about half a minute for the water to actually start boiling. And then once the water starts boiling, we're just going to, it still has to come to a real vigorous boil. We're on a high flame right now. And the minute everything starts boiling like this, we are going to reduce the flame to the lowest possible. And then we're just going to cover and cook. Now this will take just another 5 minutes for it to get ready. So you can just keep checking in between. So see how fast this rice got ready. It took less than, I think, 10 minutes for the rice to get cooked. So after around, I think, roughly 8 minutes, our rice is already ready. So just put off the flame and just cover it for another 2 minutes. And then once you're ready to serve, you can just rough up the rice, loosen up the grains. And you can see that they're so well cooked. It's not a mash. The rice hasn't got mashed. The reason for this is, first of all, that we soaked the rice. And secondly, we cooked it in this manner, so it doesn't become soggy at all. Now, I love to club this rice with some lovely Goan potato chops or some chicken cutlets or some popcorn chicken. I'm going to leave the recipes for all of those 3 sides that go with this rice very well in my description box as well as the comments box. So just click on those links and it will take you to all my recipes. So I hope you like today's recipes. I have a lot of other rice recipes too, which I will link below. Thank you so much for watching.